What I love about New Albany is the 4th of July parade.
Sports.
Starbucks. My other home.
Very supportive to my business, and I think businesses in the area kind of all look out for each other.
Everything.
Welcome to White Fence Living Podcast. Today I've got Craig Mohre with the New Albany Community Foundation. Thanks so much for coming on.
Yeah, it's great to be here with you.
I'm really excited. It's always fun, having people to Brick House. It's not often I get to have somebody that's probably been here more than I have. So I didn't get to do the tour, but welcome to Brick House Blue.
Yeah, it's a great space. I think the city did a great job with it.
Yeah, it's awesome. And I know you've probably done events here or been to events here, right?
Yeah, many.
I figured that, yeah. So I'm going to do something a little new with the podcast that I've been meaning to do and I haven't done a good job of, is I think it'd be great to start with just like some upcoming events. And it plays really well to having you here because some events coming up. So there's two things I wanted to start with. One is the school theater department. Mm-hmm. So I loved when I was in high school, like going to the theater stuff. I just loved we had a really good theater department. It was just always fun to go watch those. So I'd love to, April 17th to the 19th is Beetlejuice Junior. The middle school is putting that on at the McCoy. And then April 24th is Romeo and Juliet at the McCoy. And that's the high school. I got to be honest, I've never been to a theater event at for New Albany. I'm sure you have.
Yeah.
How are they?
They're really well done.
Yeah.
They have a great theater department. The teachers are excellent. The students are so talented.
Yeah.
And I'm particularly proud. We spent 5 years trying to get the McCoy built, raise the money, endow it. And now to go to events and see that these kids have a place on the stage, a lot of them find their voice, their confidence.
For sure.
It's just so rewarding.
Yeah. We're going to get into a lot more of that.
Okay.
So yeah, those are cool events. The high school one is the April 24th to May 2nd. I'm sure you can find all the information on that. And then we've got some New Albany Symphony, Renée Fleming, right? You know a little bit about that.
Big get for the symphony. Heather does a great job. And not only is she a super talent, and I've heard her different places, and I'm going obviously, but
yeah.
Also, the way she ties in how music and the arts support health.
Okay.
That's a big part of her message.
Yeah. Yeah. Really cool. So, again, April 24th, 7:30. And that's at the McCoy as well, right?
Yes.
Awesome. Home runs for the McCoy. And then let's talk lecture series. So this is what really motivated me to start off this way is I was like, well, we got to start with some local events. So you've got, we'll go ahead and start. So April 28th at 7 p.m., we've got some debates, right?
Yeah, it's our civil discourse and debate. The Darrow family really started that with us and underwrites a good portion of it. So we're grateful to them. We have James Carville paired with Reince Priebus, who was chief of staff to President Trump in the first term and chair of the National Republican Party. And, of course, James Carville is kind of an icon from the Democrat side. So we try to bring different perspectives through this in a respectful way.
Yeah.
We've been doing that now for 6 years.
Yeah.
It's a great program.
That's awesome. Is somebody leading the debate or how's it structured?
Yeah. Lindsay Davis from ABC News will be the moderator.
Great.
So we go out and get a really good, strong, experienced moderator.
Yeah, unfortunately, in this climate, that's an important part of that piece. I'm sure is a good moderator. Well, awesome. And then so we can even go a little bit forward. May 11th, 7 p.m. Another lecture series. Christian Slater.
Yeah, Christian Slater will be our mental health speaker. We do a student lecture most of the time when we're bringing speakers to New Albany. We'll write in the contract, we want you to do a student engagement.
Yeah.
And we not only include New Albany students, but we invite all the surrounding schools. So this was the rescheduled one. The civil discourse and debate had to be rescheduled because of the snowstorm.
Yeah.
We had 18 area high schools sending students to that lecture.
Wow.
We're hoping to replicate that. And then, Christian Slater. When you ask the educators what's the number one issue you're dealing with, they'll say health, anxiety, depression.
Yeah.
So we thought, well, we have this platform to engage the community in a dialogue. Let's use that. So we started bringing mental health advocates to speak. And then we can share with the kids, here are the resources available, and the families.
Yeah,
So,
that's awesome. Really, really powerful stuff. So we got some time for that one, May 11th. So anything else events-wise that you want to talk about? Because I know there's some, you guys do so much. We talked a little bit before, like summer series or any other events that are upcoming.
well, we're working on the next season now.
Okay.
So Remarkable Evening is our annual benefit. That will be in October. I can't share who the speakers are yet. And then we have the Amp Up the Arts benefit, which will be August 13th, featuring Brass Transit. It's the music of Chicago.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah,
fantastic,
that's awesome.
a lot of fun. And then we have 3 family flicks. So each year we let the kids attending the family flick, these are free, in the amphitheater. We have a 20 by 35 foot LED screen.
Yeah.
Right? So we can do movie nights with popcorn and food trucks and all that. And we let the kids pick the flicks for the next year.
That's awesome.
So we'll do one in June, one in July, and one in August.
Yeah, it's great. It's really fun. I've been by those events. They're packed.
Yeah.
Tons of people.
Good turnout, especially if the weather's nice.
Yeah. Exactly. Well, awesome. So that's it for events. I'm going to try and continue to do that, be disciplined to kind of share local events. And I want the guests to be engaged with that just because I think it's good to have different perspectives on it. So what what I'd like to start with is we want to talk New Albany and the foundation, but I'd like to get to know you a little bit more, Craig. So where are you from, family, those things? Let's get to know you a little bit.
Well, I'm from a small town in Northwest Ohio, Eden, Edon.
Okay.
Graduated with about 70 kids, right? So very small.
Yeah.
So if you were any kind of athlete, you could actually start in football, basketball, baseball,
Yeah,
right? Which
yeah.
I participated in all those. Came to Ohio State. Like so many, I never left Columbus.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Started out in public affairs and was involved in a lot of politics and public affairs. And then one of our clients in the early 90s was the New Albany Company. So I made some connections there, and eventually they hired me in-house in 95.
Okay.
And then in 2002, Jack Kessler came to me and said, hey, we'd like to get this foundation going. Jack had started it. It kind of existed on paper.
Yeah.
And he enlisted Ralph Johnson, the superintendent at that time.
Okay.
And so he said, we have this form, but we really need someone to take it and build it.
Yeah.
And so he asked me if I could help with some planning, and I did. I wrote down, this is the role I think the foundation can play. Here are some projects I think you could advance. And he called me back in a few weeks and said, hey, we want you to run it. And so it wasn't the career path I had envisioned.
Yeah.
But it was. I've had a ball doing it.
Yeah.
We've had a lot of success. New Albany's a very generous community.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it's been a lot of fun.
It's got to be super rewarding.
Very rewarding. I said, when you sit in the McCoy or the amphitheater or the library and you see people enjoying themselves, it's, you can say, oh, we had a part in that.
Yeah. What was one of the first projects for the foundation?
The library. That was the first thing I wrote on that piece of paper. This would have been 2002.
Okay.
So if you go back to 2002, New Albany would have been a small village. It wasn't a city yet.
How many people say to you, how often do you hear, I remember that this was just cornfields?
Yeah, quite a lot.
Once a day at least, I bet.
The business park would have been just starting, really hadn't taken off yet.
Yeah.
So, it was a big thing then to set a goal to raise $1 million. We approached the Columbus Metropolitan Library.
So there was no library in New Albany?
There was no library. You had the 2 buildings on each side of Market Square.
Yeah.
And actually the shops and restaurants were really struggling. There wasn't a lot of foot traffic. And we knew the library would be an anchor that would help with that.
Yeah.
We also knew that libraries serve everybody from the youngest kids to the oldest adults. That's one of the reasons we thought it was important. So the Columbus Metropolitan Library had planned to build a branch in New Albany, but it was on hold indefinitely. Their funding had been cut. So we approached them and said, look, if we raised $1 million, would you move ahead and build the library? And they said yes.
Wow.
So we brought in David McCullough, the Pulitzer Prize-winning historian, who turned out to be just an extraordinary advocate for public libraries. He grew up in Pittsburgh and had researched his books in the public library there.
Okay.
So we set a goal of $1 million. We actually surpassed that. We raised $1.2 million.
Great.
Gave all the money to the library, and McCullough was so taken with what was happening, he came back the next year with his wife and dedicated it.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. It really is kind of, I like how you phrase that as like the anchor of there. So,
and if you look at the village center, what maybe separates New Albany from a lot of the suburban communities that grew later.
Yeah.
If you look at America's history, the town centers were really anchored by libraries and schools and churches and public buildings.
Yeah.
And then with the proliferation of cars, the planning changed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, cities were building public buildings all over they could put a parking field around it and people could drive there. Well, we lost the heart and soul of our communities.
Yeah.
And big boxes would develop on the edge of town and kill the hardware store. And so the New Albany planners set out early on to do it differently. They wanted all the public buildings in the historic town center. So the library was part of that. But even today, if you look, the health center, the Heights Center, the arts center, the school campus, the village hall, the post office, it's all in the town center.
You mean it wasn't all an accident?
It wasn't an accident. And it really requires diligence on the behalf of the city leaders. The New Albany Company donated a lot of the land that made that possible.
Yeah.
But those public buildings serve as anchors and create foot traffic so the shops and restaurants can do well.
Yeah, it is really neat the way that it's laid out. And man, if I've said it 100 times, I've said it 1,000 times. Like the kids in the community are so fortunate to have just an environment like this to grow up in. Because I know, man, I'm afraid to say this, but my kids are one of the kids that love to go to the library, and they love to go from the library to Starbucks. And I think that is, it's really neat because I think they have community members there looking out for them. It's a safe space. I know they can cause a little trouble down there. But I think for the most part, I think it's pretty good. I'm always asking my daughter, who's like, she wouldn't do no wrong, I'm like, who's getting kicked out of the library today, But I just think it's a great space for them to go to.
It is. And, that collaboration that results in so many great outcomes for the community, it really continues today. So if you look at the athletic complex that the city and the school district are planning, the city acquires the former Discover site.
Yeah.
They offer land to the schools for nothing.
Yep.
The New Albany Company donated $5 million toward that. And really, with the connections, the paths they're going to do, the kids can ride their bike there, and it's pretty close.
Yeah. So can we talk about that a little bit?
Sure.
Because as I think of, I love athletics and youth sports, and as I think about this facility, I love the idea because New Albany really has outgrown the campus like athletic fields.
Yeah.
So what will that look like? You've got the new hamlet there that's going to be coming. What is that kind of traffic going to look like?
Well, and the city leaders would be better to talk to about it than me probably, and the school leaders. But,
it's obviously being planned.
I think with the growth in the new elementary school, the number one goal was to keep all the academic buildings on the campus.
Yes. Yes.
There's a benefit to that. And near the arts center, so all the kids can walk there, near the wetlands and nature preserves so they can study, environmental science. So the logical thing was to move the athletic fields off the campus. Fortunately, they found a location that's as close as we could get.
Yeah.
So I think it all really is going to be fabulous for the students, for the parents, for the community.
Yeah, I'm excited about it because it is just being involved in athletics at a little bit of middle school and high school and youth, and there is that it is challenging. There's one turf field and everybody wants on it. Yeah. So I'm excited for that. I think it'll be good for the athletics. I think it'll be good for the academics. I'm super excited about it. We're again super fortunate, really fortunate. Awesome. So one other thing, I guess, let's jump into the foundation. So we talked a little bit about how it started. What is the foundation doing now? And I know that's a long answer. But I'll just kind of give you my perspective as a community member. I know that the foundation exists. I recently was really kind of close to something in the foundation. We'll touch on that too. But I guess let's touch on like what the foundation is. It's at its core what it is.
Yeah, really. So the first thing I would talk about is the grant making. So twice a year, in April and in October, we award grants to community not-for-profits.
Okay.
We house over 90 endowment funds, and so our role really is to be a conduit between the families and the companies and the organizations who have funds who want to have a positive impact, and the nonprofits in the community who are having an impact.
Yeah.
And once we know what they want to impact, whether it's the arts or health and wellness or education or the environment, whatever, we can connect them to things that are happening in that space. So we do that twice a year. In fact, our grant committee meets tomorrow. They'll review the applications, make a recommendation to the board. The board approves the grants.
Okay.
To date, in our history, we've given out over $25 million in grants.
Wow.
Which is really impressive for a little startup foundation, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And kudos to those fund donors for making that happen.
Yeah.
They're very engaged. And then we track, one of those four categories where those grants go.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. That happens every year, twice a year. Then we've advanced some larger community projects. We mentioned the library.
Yeah.
We also played a big role in convening the collaborators to build the McCoy Center and endow it.
Yeah.
So we could support programming in there in perpetuity. We built the amphitheater through donors.
Yeah.
And then we've done a lot of other things that maybe people don't know about. So we started Safety Town,
Okay.
the Safety Town program in New Albany. Yeah.
I love it.
We had a group of mothers come in and say, hey, why don't we have a Safety Town program? And we said, yeah, I don't know. Let's do it. So
That's awesome.
we convened the police department, the fire department, the schools, got that off the ground, and I think they've had over 10,000 kids graduate from the program.
It's an amazing program. Yeah. I think all of my kids except maybe one, maybe because of COVID or something, but they've all done it. They love it. Yeah.
We started an author residency program in the school.
Okay.
We just had an author like a week ago at the elementary school. Fabulous experience.
My kids were they were so excited.
Yeah.
Like leading up to it, they couldn't wait.
So we partner with the New Albany Women's Network and the PTOs. They help fund it with us.
Okay.
So every year the school district can select authors that they know the kids enjoy.
Yeah.
Bring them to the campus to interact, explore the creative process.
That's awesome.
It's a very impactful program. So the foundation's been in the middle of a lot of startups and supporting a lot of different programs. We help convene Healthy New Albany.
Okay.
So it was Phil Height's vision.
Yeah.
And it's a wonderful 501c3. But when Phil said, I want to do this, he said, can you help? And we brought together like-minded folks who we thought would engage.
Yeah.
We identified where the needs were, what was already being offered, where their needs, and that led to the farmers market and the community garden and a lot of the things you see today. And then we're the biggest funders still today of the farmers market, and we give grants to Healthy New Albany every year.
That's awesome. Everybody loves the farmers markets.
Yeah, they're wonderful.
They really are. We go, man, we'll do that all summer long. And it's funny, I had the girls basketball team and just kind of like your favorite event. And I think three of the five, I think were like farmers market for sure. Everybody loves the pickle guy there.
Yeah, right. The longest lines.
Yeah.
Used to be peaches. Now it's pickles.
Okay. All right. Yeah. It's fantastic. Well, I mean, it's funny. I joked with you before are you busy at the foundation right now? And you're like, always busy.
Yeah. So right now we have our denim drive getting ready to start in April.
I saw that. I saw that.
Nanette Triplett leads that, does a fabulous job. So we started it last year. We met with Abercrombie.
Okay.
They were already recycling denim. And so we thought, well, maybe we could take this community wide.
Yeah.
And so we launched it last year for the first time, collected over 1,000 pieces of denim.
Yeah.
Most of it was in good enough shape that it could be cleaned and donated to the food pantry to go out to families that need help. The rest of it goes to reclamation. So it goes to a recycling facility in Delaware, and it's made into insulation.
Wow.
Repurposed.
How neat is that?
Yeah, it's great.
That's awesome.
So we're going to do that again coming up here April, the first week of April.
First week of April. I did see something on social media, I think, about it. I thought it was really cool.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, so I wanted to dive a little bit deeper into the grant process, and I want to share a story, like just where that kind of hit home for me was Irene Adams, of course, you know. Mm-hmm. So Irene, I think is how we got connected, right? She's
Karen Wellington Foundation.
That's right. Yeah. So Irene and I met a while back, and she wanted to be on the show. So I was like, yeah, I would love to, like, I'm honored to. So she comes on, and I nominate shortly after a teacher that's in New Albany. And so as I understand it, that when they applied for the grant, that they were awarded the grant, the Karen Wellington Foundation was, and that it was to be for anybody within the school district area. Is that right? Does that sound right about? Or
Yeah, so we like to have a connection to the New Albany community.
Yeah.
That's what we weight the most heavily when we're assessing grant applications. In this case, and for those who don't know the Karen Wellington Foundation, it's really I would liken it to Make-A-Wish, only it's for mainly women who are battling breast cancer or cancer. It allows them to make memories with their family.
Yeah.
Send them on a trip to Disney or whatever.
Yep.
It's really a cool program. And so we got this application, and the neat thing about it was one of the funders. Do you need to do something?
No, I think it's just overheating again. I don't know what's up with this camera, but that's all right. We got the audio. I'll play with it later.
So I mentioned we're a conduit between the fund donors and the grant recipient.
Yeah.
In this case, the fund is the Barbara Levesque Memorial Fund.
Yeah.
Barbara was a beloved figure in New Albany. She lived here for over 20 years, chaired a lot of the school levy campaigns, was heavily involved. Loved the arts, loved dance. She went to Denison, was a dancer.
Yeah.
She passed away, unfortunately, from cancer. But her husband, Colin Levesque, set up a fund along with her family in her memory. So when we got this application, we thought, well, this is a good fit.
Yeah.
So we contacted Colin. He was thrilled.
That's awesome.
And so it was really a nice tie-in from Barbara's involvement with the schools and the community to now the recipient being a teacher at New Albany.
Yeah, it was really awesome. So that's the kind of things that I think people maybe haven't heard right about the foundation that they're doing. Obviously, the big home runs, but if there's is there outside of that one? Are there any other like things that really hit home emotionally for you in particular, for the foundation? Any kind of stories like that come to mind?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
I bet. I bet.
We did a grant last year. Marlene Brisk, who's a member of City Council, they sponsored a program about the Holocaust. It was Train to Magburg.
Okay.
It's a guy that unearthed this story, and now they're doing a documentary on it.
Wow.
Well, it turns out Marlene had family on that train. So the story, and she's a better person to talk about it than me, but the story was this train was leaving a concentration camp. The Allies were closing in on the Nazis.
Yeah.
And this train was damaged in the battle. Wow. And it's sitting out in the middle of nowhere. And the prisoners on the train, the concentration camp folks, were dying. And the Americans came upon them and rescued them. And it was the story of these families and the Americans who found them, and they were in the middle of a battle. So it was a big deal for him to actually get them to an aid camp and take care of them.
Yeah.
And all this was unearthed because a history teacher asked his kids to share stories from their grandparents.
Wow.
Right? But the cool thing for us was that Marlene had a connection to all that.
Yeah.
And so every now and then there are those emotional things. But so many of our fund donors, I mean, we really serve at the intersection of great generosity and caring about community.
Yes.
And that's so inspiring all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really neat. That's really, really neat. Well, so I definitely wanted to highlight that because I feel like I kind of have the same passion or motivation for this project, right? Like I'm not ever going to make a living off of this, right? So, that in particular, that one connection, I don't joke. I say like if doing this, if that's all I ever get out of it, then it was well worth it because it was just the whole thing was incredible. And I've worked more with the Karen Wellington Foundation since then. So I think that's just fantastic.
Well, don't minimize what you do. I mean, it all helps create community.
Yes.
And one of the things, as the community has grown, I think we've maintained that sense of community that's so important.
Yeah.
By communicating and connecting and providing those opportunities. It's a lot of the reason the foundation wanted to sponsor events and create venues for events.
Yeah.
Because it brings people together. You know, we're in a very sort of vitriolic time.
Yeah.
And people, you know, it's easy to attack one another, but these shared experiences bring us together. And in the case of the lecture series, it creates a community dialogue.
Yeah.
Or in the case of, you know, the McCoy and the amphitheater, it's a place for us to be enriched by the arts.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk on that a little bit. Arts are such a big part, it seems like, of what a lot of the foundation is. Like, where does that come from? What's the motivation behind that? There is so much poured into the arts in New Albany. It's fantastic. Mm-hmm. Is there any particular person? Was it you? Why such an emphasis on the arts?
Well, so I'll share a little bit of the history of how it happened.
Yeah.
After McCullough came to raise money for the library, as guys are prone to do, Ralph Johnson and I were having coffee at Starbucks, and we're kind of patting ourselves on the back at the great success we had. And I said to Ralph, you know, there's a real buzz in the community about McCullough. And he says, you're not going to believe what's happening at the school. The teachers were telling him that all the essays were coming in on the themes that McCullough had talked to the students about.
Oh, wow.
And his exact words were, Craig, they've elevated a 67-year-old white-haired historian to rock star status.
That's great.
And I said, well, you know, the core of all learning is curiosity. I'd like to bring thought leaders to the community routinely to interact with the students, their parents, and their grandparents, multi-generational. Where could we have lectures?
Yeah.
And he said, well, we have $5 million from a bond issue. This was back in 2002.
Okay.
We're going to build a high school auditorium. Now, $5 million will get you a pretty typical cinder block rectangle with a stage.
Yeah.
He said, would you all consider raising private money to enhance it like you did for the library?
Yeah.
And I said, well, we could take it to the foundation board, but I think it would resonate more if the facility wasn't just a school building, it served the community.
Yeah.
Knowing that, you know, you want everybody to see themselves benefiting from it, right?
Yes.
He said, no, that would be great. And that's what led to the McCoy Center. It sounds very easy. It took years. Right?
Yeah.
But then, you know, one of the things, and this is really reflective of the role of the foundation as a convener. So we have our voting board, and then we also have 5 non-voting members.
Okay.
The mayor of New Albany, the president of the school board, the president of the Plain Township trustees, the superintendent, and Jack Kessler.
Yeah.
So you have all these leaders around the table. And we knew at the time there were informal conversations with the village council about a community center someday. The township trustees were talking informally about a senior center for their constituents someday.
Okay. Yeah.
So we said to them, what if, because none of us had a lot of money. There weren't a lot of resources. I remember the business park was just starting. We were a small village. What if we all collaborated on one facility of higher quality that could be shared?
Yeah.
And we knew that school auditoriums, they're not used every day of the year.
No. Yeah.
And when it's not being used, the community groups could use it. And we did a lot of research. We traveled all over talking to places that had done this. And that's what happened. So it went from a $5 million school auditorium to a $15 million performing arts center.
Yeah.
The village joined in, the township, the foundation. Our commitment primarily was to raise money for endowments to support the nonprofits that would be housed in there.
Yeah.
And we were told, if you do this, you will have nonprofits form. And within years, we had a symphony, a community band, a community choir. We have a youth theater group, an adult theater group. We have dance groups, ballet groups. Everything they predicted came true.
Yeah.
And now we give grants to all those organizations, and they perform in the McCoy. And you know, our symphony is fantastic, and it's not just professionals; it's students and people who played instruments, you know, when they were younger, and they weren't ready to give it up, and they now have a place to perform.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is really, really cool. Definitely not by accident, right?
No, but the best part of the story, and the part that I hope we never lose, is the sense of collaboration.
Yes.
You had the right leaders at the city, the school, the township that were willing to work together. And it wasn't easy. Let me tell you, when you have attorneys doing an operating agreement and a joint ownership agreement, but they all saw the opportunity to deliver so much more for their constituents if they could find a way to work together.
Yeah. And that's obviously like a huge strength that you have. You're in a unique position of, like, you obviously have to be able to do all of those administrative and structural things, right, and navigate contracts and probably pretty strong relationships, but yet to do it in a way that is like keeping that core intact, I think is it's impressive. It's really impressive.
Yeah, and it helps to have a benefactor in the community. So the Wexner family, the New Albany Company, they not only are always donating land, but they donate money as well, and that helps. And then we have all these donors in the community who engage and are very generous. And I'll tell you, you know, the McCoy Center site, the New Albany Company owned it. And at one point, McDonald's wanted to build a McDonald's there.
I think I've heard this. I'm glad you mentioned this because I almost forgot I heard that story. Yeah.
CVS wanted to locate there. And, you know, the city planners just thought, that's not really the use we want. It's contiguous to the school campus. It's so visible. It's in the center of town, visible from every angle.
Yeah.
And when this became a reality, Keith Myers was the village planner back then. And he said, Craig, this is where it should go. It's a civic use. And as I said before, all the kids could walk to there on the campus and use the facility. So the New Albany Company donated the land like they have so many other times for other things. And it just all came together.
Boy, am I glad. I love McDonald's, don't get me wrong. But, man, I'm glad it's not a McDonald's.
You know, they found a place here, and they do well.
I'm going to see if I can turn this back on real quick. All right. As always, technical difficulties. I got to figure this camera out. It's like the latest GoPro creator, I don't know what, and it overheats and just shuts off randomly. But I didn't want to break conversation to fix it. So the audio, I think, is more important than the video anyways. All of that is fantastic. I hope that the community, I hope that we can help reach more through this platform and others. So if you are a community member and you want to get involved, let's say that you want to give back, or what does that process look like?
Oh, it's really easy. I mean, our office is located at Market Square. We're upstairs above the Starbucks there. Or you can contact me, my email address, or you can find us on the website. Yeah. Just really easy to engage. And we have there is something I would like to address. I think a lot of people see some of the big projects and they think, oh, you got to have a lot of money to have an impact with the foundation.
Yeah.
That's not true.
Okay.
We accept donations of any size. During COVID, we raised money for PPE equipment for the schools to open safely.
Yeah.
When the schools failed to levy and they had to raise pay-to-play fees, a fund was set up to do scholarships, so no kid was rejected the opportunity to participate in extracurricular activity.
Yeah.
And that was all just New Albany families kind of stacking hands and donating money.
I love it.
So we're kind of the conduit for that.
Yeah.
But it's really easy. And, we have a great staff who can help folks navigate where they want to have an impact and try to, connect them with the right nonprofits that are doing that.
Which I think is neat to be able, like the Karen Wellington Foundation, to be able to not only have a fund, but it's just fun. It seems more impactful when it's like, this is kind of where I want it to impact the community. I think that's a really, really neat process. Yeah, that's fun. So then on the flip side of that, grant writing can be intimidating. I know. Let's say you have, you get a podcaster who maybe wants a communications grant to upgrade his camera. No, but if you're somebody in the community that's like, wow, this is a really awesome nonprofit, how can they approach that grant writing process? Yeah,
so you can actually apply for a grant through our website.
Okay,
or Gina Stelluti is our director of grant making. She can help anybody with that process. She's great.
Yeah.
So it's pretty easy.
Yeah, good.
Now you need to be a 501c3. We can only give
that's
grants.
The hard part.
Yeah. So.
I'm out. No, that's really good to know because I think there's I think that in a community like this, as innovative as it is, there's constant great ideas and things coming up, and to have a local resource like the foundation is great. And I'm glad you touched on there's no gift that's too small, or maybe no grant that's too small, because it can be intimidating, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think people see the big projects and they think that's what it is.
Yeah.
A lot of it are smaller grants, that we give every year, and we can assess, are they having an impact? Are they well run? All those things that are important to donors.
Yeah. Well, I gotta get into the remarkable evening, and talk about some past guests. One in particular that I'm envious of is Peyton Manning. What was that like?
Oh gosh, he couldn't have been nicer. You never know when you meet these folks what they're going to be like. Yeah. But he was super accessible, wonderfully friendly guy.
Yeah,
a little ribbing about Tennessee and Ohio State, all that.
Oh yeah, because that was 24, right?
Yeah, well, we played them, right after that.
Okay, yeah.
It was a previous game that we lost. But,
yeah.
But no, we've had some amazing speakers through the years. It all started with McCullough. The night that happened, I wasn't assuming it was going to be an annual event.
Yeah.
And Les came up to me and he said, "How are you going to top this next year?"
Yeah.
So he was already thinking this is going to be an annual event. They were nice enough to host it. And underwrite the event. So all the proceeds flowed to the community, which is fantastic. But we've had some amazing speakers through the years, and all that money got channeled back into the community through grants and projects.
Yeah. What's the process like to find future lecturers, right? So
we're in the middle of that right now.
Yeah.
Right now we're hoping to have 6 lectures next year. We've already locked in national security, which we typically do every year. Civil discourse and debate we're working on. The economy, we have scheduled one on that. Mental health, as I said, is a top priority for the schools, so we always do that. We're trying to do one on environmental sustainability as well. So we're working on that right now. I hope to announce it in April.
I was just trying to get you to slip up and give me a name early.
I'd get in trouble if I did. Honestly, I love to share it. And if my staff were here, they'd be laughing at me. But, I do owe it to our annual donors to probably let them know before I announce it to the world.
Yeah, right? I'm just teasing you. So the kids, the kids lecture series, what are the kids like when they get to interact with these people or see these people, or is there anything that stands out? Some funny like backstage
Oh
stories?
my gosh, so many great memories. Well, the first thing people should know is it's completely run by the students.
Okay.
So we don't use a moderator. It's a student moderator.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
They develop, like I can tell you, one of the students at New Albany, when we had Deepak Chopra, Carter Miner read like 7 of his books to prepare for that interview.
Yeah.
Really impressive. All the kids have been very impressive. But they ask the questions, they develop the questions, and any kid in the audience, whether it's streamed or in person, can submit questions. So to date, we've had over 35,000 students participate in those. And the foundation, if need be, will provide transportation. We donate books in advance often, authored by the speaker, so the kids are really well prepared for a high-level conversation.
Wow.
I'll share one story that sticks out with me. So we had Condi Rice, former Secretary of State, and we had, 800, 900 students from New Albany and surrounding school districts. And she was talking about her path, her life path. And she shared with them, I wanted to be a concert pianist. My parents had given me piano lessons. That was my plan.
Yeah.
She went to the University of Denver with that intent. And she said, at some point, I realized no matter how hard I worked, I just wasn't as talented as some of the other kids. And someone had recommended a class on Russia. And I took it, and I loved it, and I took another, and that put me on a path to become Secretary of State. So her advice, now this is a girl, she was telling them, I grew up in Jim Crow, Birmingham, Alabama. I couldn't try on a dress in the department store dressing room.
Wow.
Right? That's how, it wasn't that long ago.
No.
And she said, but if I had stayed with my plan, I would have never become Secretary of State. So her message to the students was, get out of your comfort zone. If you're good in math, try a humanities class, but just find your passion.
Yes.
And don't be afraid to try things that you don't know, because it may open doors for you.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It was very powerful. And that's typical of these student lecture interactions.
Yeah. How does a student get to go to that? So like if I'm a student, I'm like, this sounds great. I want to maybe participate in this. How would they go about doing that?
Well, we don't dictate which students are selected.
Oh, okay.
We leave it to the school districts.
Okay.
So I will tell you, in the early years, New Albany might send the whole senior class or the whole junior class. I think now New Albany leaders really tie it more to the subject matter.
Yeah.
So, if it's a former diplomat, they might choose a government class or a history class or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's more, they're identifying kids who have more of an interest in that particular area.
They'll be more engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's great. That's great. Anything else about the foundation that you want to share? Anything that maybe something that people don't know? What does the foundation need credit for that maybe they don't get credit for?
Oh my gosh. I don't know. So much of what has been accomplished is because of the generosity of donors.
Yeah.
It's amazing what a group of generous people can do to transform a community. And our donors do that, which inspires me every single day.
Yeah.
And then I would say the collaboration with our partners like the city, the school district, the township, others, the business community.
Yes.
It's just, we really are fortunate to have a community where it's kind of expected that people are going to engage, and whether it's volunteering, their time, their talent, or their treasure. And I hope we maintain that culture moving forward.
Yeah. So what is the future for the foundation?
Well, I mentioned we track where our grants go in the 4 categories.
Yeah.
And I think you alluded to it. We've spent a lot more on the arts and education and even health more than we have on the environment. So I think moving forward, we really want to emphasize environmental stewardship, impact. We're considering another program, tree planting program that the community and the schools could engage in.
That's awesome.
We're doing a lot of the research on that right now. But I think environment is going to be a big focus for us moving forward.
Yeah, that's really great. The Taylor Farms Park is a huge step in the right direction. That place is awesome.
City did a great job with that.
Yeah.
Really wonderful. And Rose Run Park and
the expansion of that. And now, they were talking about the fire department's going to be working on the old gas station and that. So that thing's moving right along.
Yeah, absolutely. The next phase is going to be great. There'll be a veterans memorial in there.
It's awesome.
The township's building a new fire station, new school going up. New Albany never stands still, right?
No. Well, let's do some rapid fire.
Okay.
Answer however you'd like. Whatever pops in my head. A lot of them have been the same recently, which I think is fun. But I'm going to start with a tricky one. Are there any hidden gems in New Albany?
Hidden gem.
Any kind of hidden gem? Place to go, place to eat, place to walk. I don't think is anything hidden in New Albany.
Well, I mean, people are really enjoying Taylor Farm.
Yeah,
walking that. All the trails are amazing.
Yeah. I thought I read somewhere the miles of trails. It's a big number. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah, and it's growing all the time.
Yeah. So let's piggyback off that. Favorite place to go walk, park to visit.
Well, I live in Albany Mews, so I walk that High Grove sort of Yantis High Grove path a lot. I do the Lambden path a lot. I'll go up through Rose Run Park a lot.
Yeah.
If my knee can handle it.
Get a bad knee. It's all the basketball and football that you played.
Yeah, I had a complete tear of the ACL. So.
Oh, yeah. I'm lucky. My knees are good for now. Knock on wood.
You're younger. Give it time.
Yeah, that's right. Favorite ice cream spot.
Oh my gosh, I like Witt's and Johnson's.
Yeah,
depends on the mood. We support both, especially in the summer. So,
yeah. I kind of feel the same way. I love Johnson's. The kids like Witt's. I feel like Witt's has like a pup cup.
Dairy Queen's great.
Dairy
Queen's great.
Yeah.
I hear we may be getting a Grater's.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
You can't have too many good ice cream places.
No, I don't think so
either.
You
got Culver's now.
Yeah. We don't. There's plenty. There's plenty of room for ice cream, of course. So how do you like? I don't want to say favorite restaurant, but I get a lot of guests who say we need more restaurants. Right?
Yeah.
That seems to be the theme in New Albany. What are your thoughts on the restaurant theme in New Albany?
Well, I mean, look, everybody acknowledges that. The city leaders, the New Albany company leaders, I think they're working on all that. I think they want to get it right.
Yeah.
If I answered anything other than the Rusty Bucket, I think a lot of people would say you're a liar.
You spent some time there.
Yeah, it's kind of it was a Saturday thing with me and my dad. And my family until he passed away. He liked going there. It's kind of the neighborhood tavern, right?
Yeah.
And my family back home had a tavern, and he worked there, and so it kind of became our thing.
Yeah,
every Saturday go there.
So did your dad move to Columbus then? Did a lot of your parents move down?
Yeah.
Okay. Did they do that was it recently or?
No, it was probably 15 years ago.
Okay.
They both passed now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was nice having them around, and he lived to be 90, so we got to spend a lot of time together.
Yeah, that's great. That seems to be the theme that I talk to a lot of community members is the same thing. Went to school at Ohio State, me, Otterbein, never went back to my hometown. And then it was just a matter of time before parents moved here because we start having kids, and then it's like, I need mom and dad to come help. So
Columbus is growing, Central Ohio, and there's a lot of opportunities. And if you want to, and it's a great place to raise a family.
100%. Could you describe New Albany in one word?
Special.
It's good. Good answer.
From the planning, the execution, the collaboration.
Yeah.
People here have high expectations, and it just seems to me the bigger we dream, the better it is.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I was trying to think what a funny answer that I got to that. I think it was one of the girls' basketball players. She was like, white fence. And I'm like, it's on brand. That's perfect.
Well, that's 2 words.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Thank you so much, Craig. I appreciate it. I hope that we could, like, somebody learned a little more about the foundation, and who knows, maybe we can help make a connection. I really enjoed it.
Yeah, you're very good at. You make everybody feel
you.
very comfortable. So
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think. I think it's just I don't have a motivation. I just like to meet people and share things in the community. And I think, you touched on it a little bit. Like let's try and keep this feeling small for as long as we can. Yeah,
I think we've accomplished that to a degree.
Yeah,
I mean, the business park's growing, and that's good for the tax base. But and all those companies are getting engaged, which is wonderful. It is. Well, we could probably talk for hours, and maybe we'll have to redo this again to kind of get updates. But thanks again. I appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Take care. Be sure to follow us on social media for news, updates, everything that's happening in New Albany. You can visit whitefencelivingpodcast.com. Look forward to seeing you on the next episode of White Fence Living.
What I love about New Albany is the holiday tree lighting.
I love the Heights Center.
The walkability and convenience.
My favorite part of New Albany is you.